Happy Monday. How was your weekend? Hope you had fun. Hope you stayed safe. Yay, we got a ride in yesterday. Won't have many more for the weather. Now, like I say, here in New England, man, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. You know, we got like a little blast of summer and it's going away. It's already cooling off a lot this week now. We'll be down into the, high 30s by midweek or so. Hey. I mentioned on a video recently how, suddenly, junk is rusty gold and it's worth a fortune. And due to a lot of influence on whether it's, TV reality show or people on here that just think their junk is great, I did something I haven't done in a long time. I looked on Marketplace. I thought about it earlier this year, but I had so much going on beginning of March when my sister passed away that I lost interest with a lot of things. I even lost interest with here and said, fuck this for a while. I wasn't as involved with the crew for a couple of months. They understood why. Then I slowly started getting back into things. But leading up until my sister's passing, over the winter I thought about, wouldn't mind getting a jet ski. I mean, come on, let's face it, where I live here, a lot of people have boats, jet skis, kayaks. When you live by the ocean, especially on this part on the peninsula, the inner part of the city, you won't see a lot of that. They don't want to be hauling their boats down here. And, the boat ramp is less than an 1/8 mile. And on the backside of me, same thing. Over at East Beach, this is West Beach. Real easy to get him in the fucking water. So I used to get Uncle Dave's boat in the water on his trailer. When we used to go fishing, well, he fished. I kind of went through the motions. The only thing I could catch was the fucking cold, But it was fun. We had some good times. And I thought about buying a jet ski. I know in the warm weather, I'm going to be with the crew. I wouldn't be devoting a whole lot of time to wanting to ride a jet ski. But during the week and whatnot, I have boat ramps right down here. They come with a little trail, real easy to get them in the water. And they have ample parking there. You go by there, man, you see jet skis both sides. You see all cars with their little trailers, jet skis, and larger vehicles with larger trailers with guys that got 28-foot boats and shit like that to get them in and out of the water. It's real convenient, easy access, It has some fun once in a while. So I've been thinking about doing that over the course of, last winter, and then things changed come March. So I was thinking about it again, And like with motorcycles now, going into winter, it's the best time to buy things that people won't be using for several months. So you got to make it worth their while and the price comes way down. As with motorcycles, same thing with boats and jet skis around here. So I haven't looked at Marketplace in a long time. So I'm looking around at jet skis. And I'm looking at a few. I didn't care about, wanting 1,000 cc. A freaking 250 cc is good enough. And I goes 35 miles an hour in the water. That's all I really need, you know what I mean? Something to have fun with. One we can ride to, Auntie Billy. My daughters, my son-in-laws wanted to take it out, for a day. Hey, Dad, that both of them could jump on it, and have some fun with it. That's it, Looking around for something reasonable. I came across a couple. I called one guy, and I went to go take a look at it last week. And it's pretty nice. Price is pretty fair. I told him I think about it, and I'm thinking about it. There's a good chance that I'll buy it, So it's a good chance I'll get it. It'll have to stay in the yard. It has a trailer with it, little trailer, and a cover because she doesn't have a garage to put it in. My garage for the winter, one of my vehicles gets put away for the winter. The other one, Auntie Billy, will use that stall. And the Infinity and the Acadia stays outside. I don't mind them being outside. So it'll be in the backyard, and it's got a cover on it, a nice, heavy-duty vinyl cover, all strapped in. Yeah, it's protected, So, while I was on Marketplace, I kind of forgot all about this. I wrote some things down. Said, let's see what's going on with cars around here. And they're all local stuff. Some as far out as Billerica, even Boston, Taunton, next door in Rhode Island, Tiverton, Providence, East Greenwich, Central Falls. Anything within like an hour's distance, So I'm looking at some cars. And I had also mentioned about how, George and our crew, him and his brother Gilly on G&G Howie, what happens when people pull in here with a fucking bike? They want to trade in and things running like shit. Oh, it only needs plugs. And, like I said, if you knew George, just this stature alone, I'm 6 foot and he makes me look like a fucking run. He's 6'4", and he goes about 250. I'm only 186. I'm in the middle of the pack as far as size goes in our crew. And, okay, put a couple plugs in it, and then we'll see how it runs. And then we'll talk trade-in price. Then he has every excuse under the sun. He even says, look, I got plugs here for that. I'll give them to you, and I'll give you a wrench. You go here. You go put the plugs in it. We'll fire it up and see how it runs. And then the guy finds, I have to go, and they fucking leave. He says, don't ever come back here with that fucking thing again. You'll get your ass thrown off this fucking lot. How people, it only needs this. It only needs a tune-up. I saw a car. It looked okay. It was a 1969 Nova, 2-door. It wasn't an SF, just a regular Nova. Had nice wheels on it. Swatted aluminums. Kind of like deep dish in the back, skinny in the front. Had a nice stance, but it looked okay, But only had like 3 pictures of it. 1 picture of the interior. But it didn't show really much of the dash and things like that. Maybe the seats. And the seats, they looked okay. Just okay. Door panels, they looked just okay. The body and what you could see in the picture had paint on it. It looked okay. Just okay. Now, up close, and what I said when I went to go look at that fucking, 30-something Oldsmobile coupe, when I went to go check that car out, I even showed it. When I got there, man, now I know why there were only pictures of one side of that fucking thing. And I learned when I was real young from my uncle, and, when you go to look at a car, bring a magnet with you. All the usual spots are on the wall panels, it's usually rotted out and rusted out. And not everybody, cuts it out, raises it on metal. You slap a shit with a Bondo in there. You bring a magnet, it drops, hits the ground. There ain't no fucking steel in that thing. It's been hacked up with Bondo, or Tiger hair. I remember hearing, Tiger hair is better than Bondo. It's more plastic than like a plaster putty. It's more plastic. I never dealt with that shit. Bring a magnet with you. Find out how much steel is on that guy. And how much it's been hacked up with Bondo or Tiger hair. Just to get it to look good, to sell it. Quick flip, Patch it up with that shit. Throw a cheapy paint job on it and put it out for sale and unload it. So anyway, it doesn't say a whole lot about it. All it says is, have paperwork. And I saw quite a few things. No paperwork, no title, no paperwork, no title. It's not, makes you wonder about things, makes me wonder anyway. And you see, only needs a little TLC. Might need brakes. It's might need things, only needs this. And this one just said, needs a little TLC. Now normally think of TLC, a little tender loving care. In this case, I contacted him. I said, listen, I don't like typing on here with a message. Here's my number. Call me. I want to talk to you. I really had no interest in buying the car. But I wanted to find out what kind of TLC this thing needed. Let me tell you something. People can ask whatever the fuck they want. He was asking some pretty decent money. People can ask whatever they want. I could put this SpongeBob on Marketplace and ask $10,000 for it. Who's stopping me? Nobody's stopping me. Does it mean someone's going to pay it? By the way, this washed up on the shore. You should see the shit that washes up on the shore here a few years back. On the backside of me at East Beach, people were sitting there, something washed up. It was a fucking prosthetic limb, a leg. Somebody lost a fucking leg at sea and it floated up. Seen some fucked up shit wash up on the shore. SpongeBob washed up. I kept him. He looks a little pissed off, right? People can ask whatever they want. Don't mean they're going to get it. You know, all this shit will linger and linger and linger and linger. And I think in some ways, some of these people don't even want to really part with these things, but maybe they were under pressure from their wife or something. Yeah, get this thing out of here. We need money for other things. And so they listen just to get, the wife or girlfriend off their back. So they ask an outrageous price. No one knows going to pay. Well, see, I tried selling it. Nobody wants to buy it. Now I got to keep it, You never know. You never know with car guys. And in this case, TLC meant this was a tough luck car. Guy finally called me. I says, you say it, it needs a little TLC. What is it needs? Oh, well, it's only a couple of minor. He would not tell me. He would not fucking tell me. He would not get specific. Well, it only needs a few little, the normal things. I said, what normal things? I guess he's thinking I'm some fucking bozo that just fell off a fucking turnip truck and don't know shit about cars, And I said, listen, straight up with you. And I lied to the guy. I says, I like the car. I want to buy it. But I want to know what to expect with no ifs, ands, buts, or excuses. So I'm going to go there and look at this car, and I'm going to check it out. And I do happen to know a thing or two or three about cars. I didn't need to give him my whole rundown on my history with cars. I says, I just want you to understand that I do know about cars. So just tell me straight out right now. Don't make me waste my time and go down there. I happen to be mechanically inclined. I'm able to fix things myself without having to pay a garage or somebody else to do it. So even if it needs quite a few things, I'll save a lot of money doing all the work myself. And I have access to parts with a couple of guys I know that own their auto parts places, even Ray's Automotive. We're still friends to this day since the age of 13. He did all my machine work for me. Head porting, cutting down, port matching, reworking cranks, boring, honing, and I got all my parts from him for just a little overcost. He says, I have access to everything necessary to fix whatever needs to be fixed, and I can do it myself for half the cost of somebody else that can't do it themselves. I tried to I don't want to say butter him up, but make it a little more worth his while to tell me. So I wrote down what it needs. I didn't go look at it. This is what he means by TLC. I wrote it all down so I wouldn't forget. I wrote this down last week. I just got sidetracked and forgot about it. Needs a radiator. Radiator's leaking. The rear main seal is leaking. Has a little bit of an engine knock. It says, could be a bearing, could be a rod, could be a piston wrist pin. This is a little TLC. Oh, it gets better. Clutch is kind of shaky. The rear end clunks and knocks when you go around corners against the Porsche truck. It's fucking... The heater doesn't work. No heater, no defrosters. Heater doesn't work. And it needs tires. This is what he considers only needs a little TLC. And I'm quite sure this isn't the only one. He was asking $6,500 for it. By the time I got through doing all this, I'd have to put quite a few man hours of labor into it. Once I got into the engine to find out what that little knock was coming from, most likely need a full engine rebuild. Yeah, I'd get the labor done, without a whole lot of cost over at Ray's. I'd tear it down, bring it over there, tear it down there, and he'd go through it for me. It's still going to cost me a little bit of money. Rear end, heater core, no heater. Clutch, it needs a rear main, it's leaking, This is what some people consider, just needs a little TLC. And then I started looking through cars and I saw some outrageous fucking prices. And these cars were pretty close to being a basket case. Pretty close. So a 75 Trans Am that was bad, real bad. Classic Trans Am, $12,500. Now, you can ask that all day long. Doesn't mean someone's going to come along and pay it. That car is not worth restoring. We'd have to dump a good 15, 20 grand into that car to get it to look like something nice and decent, you know. Now, 75 is not a very desirable year. You know, if it was a 70 Ram year, yeah, I had one. Even a 71, 72 with an HO 455, yeah. 78s became a little more desirable only because of the new front fascia styling that caught on. Smoking the Bandit made that car popular. Sales shot to the fucking roof, you know. But then once you get past 78, 77, 70, you get into 79 already, they're all run-of-the-mill. They're all run-of-the-mill cars. You find one that's fully restored, in very good condition. Don't expect it to be a badass race car or hot rod. Just something fun. They look cool. They handle well. You know, for what they were in their time, they were average power compared to what was out there and the other manufacturers at that time. With the Volare Roadrunners, you know, and Aspen RTs, you know, and Mustangs and shit like that. They were just run-of-the-mill, you know, cars. You see them going for like 14, 15 grand. You know, some people I've seen them, they're asking 28 grand. And if you look, I've seen them come up on YouTube here, some dealers. Those cars are there for fucking months and months and months and months. Nobody's going to pay that money for those cars. But they can ask. Nobody is stopping anybody from asking whatever price they want for whatever it is they're selling, regardless of how average it is, how non-classic muscle car it is, or how poor the condition is of the car. Yeah, I haven't looked around at things in a long time, but I saw this and I was just curious. I wanted to yank this guy's chain a little bit. But I tell you, it was like pulling fucking teeth to get him to finally come out. And if this is what he told me, I'm quite sure there's probably even more he didn't fucking tell me, you know. I know I'm speculating here, but I think it's worth, you know, considering, you know. I know people have done a lot of shit to unload cars. We got a lot of products these days. I call them putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. Oh, blow a head gasket. Don't put no head gaskets. Get, you know, block seal, Alumaseal. It'll seal your radiator leak. It'll seal a head gasket. It'll seal this, seal that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And you're just putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. That's all you're doing. Car's burning oil, you got blow by, the rings are shot. Oh no, put ring seal in it, put Rizlone ring seal. Load it up with STP oil treatment. That's like fucking honey. All it does is thicken up your fucking oil to a point where now it won't vaporize into smoke as quickly and blow it out your fucking exhaust, you know what I mean? You're not fixing any problem. All you're doing is eliminating smoke, but the problem is still there inside that fucking engine. You know, I know guys that put so much of that fucking shit in their fucking engine when they were burning oil, that when it started to harden up in there, it was clogging the oil returns, and then they were wiping out, the oil was building up in the fucking valve covers, you know. They go to pop the filler cap off and shit wanted to come out of it. It wouldn't even get down into the fucking base pan at the end. You know, all these little quick fixes. That's all they are, a little quick fix. And people buy it. I remember back in the old days, I used to hear the old timers talk about how they crack a block in a car. They didn't have all these products, Alumaseal, and they used to load the fucking coolant system up with fucking sawdust. So all that does is circulate and it searches out a leak. That's all that Alumaseal and block seal and all that shit does. Once it gets to a leak and it wants to exit that engine or head somewhere where it shouldn't be exiting, it seals it from the inside. It blocks it. That's all it does. That's what the sawdust. I used to hear a lot of stories about that. You know, crack a block or shit. What do you do? They'd load it up with sawdust, run it for a little while. The sawdust would plug that leak. And within a week, they were trading that car in somewhere to get rid of it, dump it off on a phone. They wouldn't really sell the car to a private party because they didn't want some guy coming back to them looking to kick his fucking ass a week later when everything's pissing out. Or he finally checks what's going on the fucking radiator. What the fuck sawdust? It's like, you know, they wanted to avoid personal confrontation with people, so they dump it off on a fucking dealer. You know, and the dealer's, you know, the dealer's not going to come to your house and give you a fucking beating because you dumped off a fucking junk with a cracked block, loaded up with sawdust, and drove off with a car you got from him. You know what I'm saying? all these tricks. People have done it for years and years and years. If there's a way to not have to fix something, put a Band-Aid on a broken leg, there's always going to be a way to do it. There'll always be people that think their junk is fucking priceless and worth a fortune, and they will glorify it. And there will always be people that will ask whatever they want for a car, even though they know it's not worth it. But they can still ask, and there will always be people that will sell you something wanting to minimize the amount of problems the car has by just saying, just needs a little TLC. Have a great day. Have fun and stay safe.